Good morning, and welcome back to the 1313 podcast.
Good morning.
I'm Jacob.
I'm Tommy.
I'm Jackson.
And yeah, let's get right into it. Newest episode of Bad Batch came out yesterday. What is everybody thinking about it?
It was a good episode. It was kind of nice to kind of decompress after the bounty hunter chase and Omega being taken. It was kind of nice to have, not like a side mission, but, you know, something to get my mind off of everything else going on in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I mean, I really liked it. Granted, the biggest thing that I was really trying to hit home to Tommy yesterday, and the minute the episode finished, I knew that people would immediately be like, it's another filler episode, guys, for the Bad Batch, the filler series. Which, again, is ridiculous because, as we talked about last time, this episode, again, was legitimate character development and growth. That was the purpose of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what everybody does, though. You know?
I'm just glad that their debt is paid off, because maybe they can go somewhere else.
Yeah, right? It was kind of I didn't expect it. I thought it was just kind of going to be like an ongoing thing all throughout the show, and they would never pay off their debt.
Yeah.
I was kind of expecting that, but it was interesting to see that they actually no longer have a debt. But
So now for this second kind of act of this season, we can maybe see them doing something other than
jobs.
Odd jobs, which just lead them everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, I really gotta say, though, seeing the ATTEs as such a prominent role in the episode was dope. They were really cool.
I know he saw this as well, but when the ATTEs started rolling up on that crowd of people, I was like, oh gosh, it's the Star Wars variant of the Tiananmen Square. I was like, that's not good.
Yeah, dude. And like, again, like, the ATTEs used to have paint accents on them. Like, there's the 3 3/4 scale one that's up off camera there. And, it's got, like, the maroon accents to it. And you'll notice, like, they've completely stripped that away for the Imperial versions of the ATTEs. They're just solid gray. Like, there's nothing else to them.
Yeah, I think with the whole thing about the Empires are taking away the individuality of the clones once more, so they can transfer into the Stormtroopers.
Yeah, and I thought it was cool. I really liked when it, like, climbed over the other one. The ATTE was, like, climbing over the destroyed one. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, I like the shot too where Wrecker literally just like bashed the cannon on the top and
right.
delivered the shot. That was awesome.
There's also like all like the subtle things like the sounds of the ATT like turning was like the AT-AT sound.
Yeah.
So that's all pretty cool.
Okay, we also talk about like how neat it is to see how the clones, who again like we keep talking about how they're soldiers. And all they know is war. Like, they literally don't know how to live a regular lifestyle or anything that's not being a soldier. And so seeing them realize, oh my gosh, the enemy that I was fighting for all these years, all of a sudden is no longer my enemy. It's kind of like the enemy of my enemy is my friend type deal. They're really figuring out, oh, the Empire isn't the Separatists. The Empire has screwed over both sides. You know what I mean? Especially for Echo, too.
Yeah.
Like, he really struggled with it, I felt like.
Exactly. I mean, we saw the Screen Crush video as well because we like to watch that when all the episodes come out. And one of the big things as well, and that was talking about, like, how many people are actually a part of the rebellion that were ex-separatists, because the rebellion isn't solely made out of ex-Republican and people who are just fed up with the Empire. You gotta think about who was also part of the Separatist Alliance at the time that's now a part of that.
Right. And with Echo, too, like, you gotta think about what the Separatists did to him. Like, what they took away from him. So why would he want to help a Separatist?
Exactly.
And, you know? I thought that was really cool. Like, it's interesting to see, especially this is all stuff that we've all wanted to see. Like, we've wanted to see what happens to clones after the Clone War. Like, what is their point of view? Because all through the Clone Wars, we've seen their point of view. And it was really cool to see. So it's nice to see their point of view as things are changing, because everyone else is brainwashed. Like, no other clones really have a voice in the show. So it's really dope.
I think probably the funniest scene in the whole show, well, not the whole show, but the whole episode, was definitely when they were handing Echo some Intel mix, and he was just...
Oh my gosh.
That was so funny.
That I think my favorite joke in the entire show, like so far though, is it's the episode where they first meet Sid, and Omega figures something out, that she figured out she was Sid, and she goes, I can see that the kid is the smartest one in the group, and then like in the background you see Wrecker give her a high five. Like it's just so funny. Like I've watched that like 3 times and I just giggle every single time I watch it.
Also shouts out to the part where Crosshair gets baked. Kind of looks like Dengar now.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I wonder what they'll do to him now.
I don't know.
It'd
Probably
be like
just
the Toy Story meme that I showed would be like, I don't want to play with you anymore.
He's gonna come back and just Death Trooper.
maybe.
That would actually be cool. So an important thing that I didn't actually see till this morning was until the end of the newest episode where they're convincing that Separatist leader Dude to like go with them because if you essentially leave, you're gonna die. And Echo says, "Live to fight another day." That's Hardcase's line from Umbara.
No kidding.
I just saw that this morning. I'm not even joking.
Sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that yesterday we were actually about to watch the episode, and I was scrolling through TikTok waiting for Jacob to get downstairs, and then I saw something that said like "bad batch spoiler," and I paused it, and I was like, okay, not gonna click that, but I clicked on the comments by accident, and the first thing said "hard case." Oh my gosh, hard case, and I was like, but he died on Umbara, and I watched through the episode, and then I was like, that didn't make too much sense. And then I thought about it later, and then, yeah, at the end, when the hard case is convincing the others to leave so that he can blow up the Umbaran ship to help, essentially, Obi-Wan's entire division as well.
No kidding.
He's all like, live to fight another day. But then Rex says it later in Rebels. Somebody else pointed that out that I saw.
Cool. That's dope. That's totally on purpose, too.
Oh,
That's
100%.
not a coincidence.
Star Wars and Marvel both have this ability to just absolutely intertwine all their media together in a way that is absolutely perfect.
Well, it's like poetry, it rhymes.
I was just about to do that.
But then again, they now have Disney money, so it's like they can do that whenever they want.
That's
'cause
why
they have
all they
the
do is
money.
make filler episodes.
Yeah. It's all filler, guys. But
Oh my gosh.
no, I'm enjoying it so far.
Oh my gosh,
I like it.
fantastic episode.
This episode, I'm not gonna say it was my favorite, but then again, it's another
It's a
episode.
really good episode.
Yeah.
Like, it's a standalone episode. You know?
Exactly.
I don't know. I'm really liking the series, and I'm very excited to see what.
6 episodes left.
I know.
Don't say that. We just gotta hold on for season 2.
I feel like the finale is going to be
Season
longer.
2.
Like, the last episode's going to be a lot longer.
Yeah.
I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but I'm pretty sure. Isn't the animation in the first episode better than the animation in the rest of the series?
You know, I thought so, but then I watched this last episode, and, like, when the ATTE goes down, it gets hit, and, like, whatever, it doesn't text say the rear axle. It's like, you see the oil and the smoke leaking out of the ATTE, and I'm
Well,
like, that looks so good.
The attention to detail is like at the same quality. I think the render time was longer for the first
Maybe,
episode.
yeah.
So that I think it looks a bit crisper in my opinion, but I don't know. I haven't watched the first episode since it really came out.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I mean,
It was really good, though.
that's good, yeah. So, seriously, though, on the first episode, last week's episode, we got...
insane amounts of interaction.
Yeah, holy cow.
Over 100 views on
I know.
YouTube. Absolutely crazy. We were not expecting that whatsoever. And thank you to anybody that interacted with it and shared it. 2 people commented on it, which is pretty awesome. Shouts out to Toxic Crew 69 and Out of the Basement, a quite larger Star Wars podcast. Thank you so much for checking us out. We really appreciate it. And to anybody else, if you want to drop us a comment on the next episode, feel free. I'm down there. I'm interacting. I'm replying to everybody. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. We can answer them on the podcast if you want.
Also, shout out to Seth Power on Instagram for sending us a DM, telling us he liked the episode. That was awesome, too.
Really enjoyed that.
Thank you to everybody that followed and subscribed. We really appreciate it.
Like, yeah, there was way more, like, views, interaction, anything than I ever would have anticipated. So, yeah, really appreciative.
I was really
of that.
thinking we were going to get like 15 views, like 2
Yeah,
listens.
me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking like 5 or 10.
And for those that don't know, we are also available on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcast.
We're not available on Apple yet.
Not Apple yet. Take
We're gonna
that
post
back.
when that happens.
Oopsie.
what?
We're not available on Apple yet.
Yeah, I know.
Just that we'll post when
Well, yeah, Apple takes
Oh, right,
forever
right,
just
right,
to
right.
upload.
Literally everything but Apple, because Apple takes the longest to process.
Yeah, no kidding.
Makes sense. It's Apple.
Yeah. Here, Chick, let's also go over the comments, because you said we would do that as well.
Okay, sure. So the 2 comments that we had were in direct correlation with the episode. Our first one, so the one from Toxic Cruise is on our topic about the Kaminoans, and he says, "My thought on the test tubes are Kaminoans trying to modify their bodies because Kaminoans used to be a land planet. Well, Kamino used to be a land planet, but at an ice age, when the ice melted, it flooded the world, so they had to change their bodies to survive. Which is, I didn't double check to see how accurate that was.
Me
But-
neither, to be honest.
I didn't know it. I didn't
know that
information.
either.
It's
So if
probably
it is true, that's
Right.
really cool.
It's probably in a visual dictionary somewhere.
Probably. And then Out of the Basement left a really long, nice comment, basically touching on all of the points that we made. But he did mention for the Kaminoans, if I can find it.
If you just want me to say, because I remember it, but he was talking about how essentially the Kaminoans somehow must be native to Kamino because of the scene in Attack of the Clones where they're riding on that like winged creature that can also like swim and whatever.
Yeah, right.
I completely forgot about that part at the beginning of the episode.
So they definitely have some aquatic adaptations. So
And that was just cool, like that conversation, to see that like branch out, and like I learned something. You know, I like to think of myself as a very avid Star Wars fan. You know what I mean? And to have somebody, you know, comment something that I didn't know is super cool. It's like it just goes to show like how expansive Star Wars is and how like cool the community is.
So thank you for everybody. Keep sharing it. Keep listening. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. So let's talk about that High Republic trailer that came out of nowhere. It seemed like this past week. What was that? Tuesday or Thursday? That
It
came
must
out.
have been, yeah.
It was Tuesday because we were at work when it came out.
Yep. Right. Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I haven't read any of the High Republic books yet because I have the first one. What's it called? Light of the Jedi?
Yes.
Yeah, I have that book, and then my father has been reading it, and then he finished it, but I'm still in the middle of the plethora of Thrawn books.
The best.
But yeah, I love the Thrawn books, but I really want to get into High Republic because I've heard such good things about the books.
I am a couple chapters into Light of the Jedi. It's okay so far. It's not grabbing me like how the Thrawn series did, but then again, those are like my favorite books right now.
Yeah,
so
right.
it's like of all time. So
I've yet to read any of it, but I feel extremely bad that I haven't read any of it yet because I know this is like the next direction that Disney's going to be taking Star Wars, and
Yes.
like, I should probably catch up. I don't feel like I have time to read all of it, so I might just try to find like online summaries because this is going to be important information, and I don't want to end up just being like just so based in like one area of like Star Wars knowledge as well.
I kind of find it cool that they're spreading it out across just like not novels, but they're doing like manga as well
Manga.
and like kids books as well. That's super cool.
That's really
It's kind of
awesome.
like it's kind of exactly like what happened in like the 90s with Shadow of the Empire.
Oh, yeah.
Where it was like a movie without a movie. So it's like it's an entire era of Star Wars that's not going to get a film really. So it's like the only way to consume the media is through the books.
Yeah.
So I think that's a cool way to get different people engaged into new stories because it's not like you have to know a whole lot of backstory and like how the entire Star Wars universe works to hop into those books and read it. And they also have them for all different age groups, from like adults to like little kids.
Yeah, small children. One thing that I saw in the little cinematic that they had for the trailer for the next like wave of books coming out is at the very end when they're fighting. They're called the Nile, are those pirates that they fight. One of them had a light axe.
Yeah.
like a double-sided like light axe. That was so cool.
That was only things that we saw in comics that were now considered legends before, so the fact that they're bringing that into canon is really cool. Didn't the other person have a light whip?
Yeah,
in that?
we've seen light whips before with like the Zygerians. Or is it Zygerians?
Zygerians?
Yeah.
I think so. But then again, those, they just seem like whips that are like made of energy. I wouldn't consider them like kyber-based weapons.
Yeah.
They might be kyber based if it wasn't a Jedi holding it.
Was it? Well, in the
whip.
For the High
cinematic.
Republic, the High Republic cinematic, yes, I would
Yeah.
consider that. I'm talking about the Zygerians.
Oh, theirs were probably just energy based. Yeah.
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 So I consider anything that's a lightsaber is kyber-based energy. So that's very cool.
Yeah.
That's the thing too about like the axe that we see. Is that actually going to be like a kyber-based weapon, or is that like another source of energy? So like as we know, when the Jedi were being first created, they had the proton sabers and whatever that had the energy backpacks.
The
and whatever.
proto sabers, like
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I meant.
Well, then there's like the Praetorian Guards. They had like energy on their weapons. Some of the weapons had like energy beams on them, and that wasn't kyber based.
Exactly. So I mean, I feel like it would be cool if it's going to be like a kyber-based thing. Like you can form like kyber energy to be an axe or whip.
Yep.
But then at the same time, I'm really curious that, like, if that is the legitimate concept, then how are they going to phase that into the fact that nobody uses that in the
Right,
media
yeah.
that we see? So if it isn't a Kyber-based weapon, I can very easily see that as being like, that's an outdated source of technology that's super easy to be blah, blah, blah. But if it is, then I feel like they might just sprinkle it in here and there in like the sequel and OT and in the prequel as well, if they really need to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they will, just because if you look at it, the just the design of the light axe, it's not very effective compared to a lightsaber, just because it has a very small cutting edge out of reach.
Yeah, right.
So you're only good for having reach on opponents. But then again, if they hit the top of the axe, unless it's made out of Beskar, the thing's gonna break.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It might be a pretty ineffective weapon just for like Sith, like, I don't know what you would call them, like barbarians maybe.
Pretty much. I mean, the way that, like, I haven't read the books, so I don't know exactly how it is, but the way that I've seen people say they're described in Light of the Jedi, or I don't know if it's that book, but one of the books is that they're, like, super ruthless. So, first chapter you see them in, they're just beheading people and killing people. Like Darth Maul Clone Wars style. Like, just taking people out, and they'll, like, kill each other. Like, just because they want to, you know? So, like, I think that they really portray them as really just vicious and, as you said, like, barbaric. So I think that that's a good opponent for the Jedi, because I know that was their biggest struggle with doing the High Republic was, well, we don't want to do the Sith. We don't want to do anything with the Mandalorian Wars. We need to find something that would stand up to the Jedi, you know, and actually be able to fight the Jedi.
However, those events do end up happening now, because I was watching something with my dad talking about how the Clone Wars actually canonized a couple aspects of the Old Republic. So, like, at one point, yes, there is a raid on the Jedi Temple to get the Darksaber back by the Mandalorians. And yes, I mean, obviously, as I said last week, by the Rise of Skywalker Visual Dictionary, the Sith that we talked about are canon. We don't know how yet. The High Republic can eventually start to degrade into the Old Republic, I guess, if you want to call it that, because I don't feel like they will later, and then eventually go into what we have for the prequel trilogy.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. I'm excited for all the new stuff to come out.
I want them to make a TV show or eventually a movie about the High Republic.
Eventually. I don't think they will. I think they might keep it all in the books.
I hope not. I hope they do something, even if it's an animated show. Something.
Exactly.
Even if it's like a half-hour special that they do once, I think it'd be cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe they could touch on it in Star Wars Visions, because Star Wars Visions is just
true.
Individual stories within the Star Wars galaxy.
Or the Acolyte.
The
Acolyte's that show.
The Acolyte might move into it.
Yeah.
I'm super excited for the Acolyte.
Yes.
It sounds so cool.
But speaking on Visions, if I'm correct, Anime Con is this upcoming week, so then we'll get that 30.
Oh my gosh, it's this soon already?
I'm pretty sure it is.
Holy
Wait,
cow.
isn't it?
I'm gonna double
I
check.
thought it was on the 3rd. I think that's today.
Nuh-uh.
Huh?
Okay, we're really bad anchors for this, but we're researching this on the fly.
Well, I posted about it on my plugging Star Wars
I might be
_
wrong, just
outlet
because I
on
Googled when is
Instagram.
Anime Con, and it's September 24th through the 26th, but then didn't Star Wars officially close?
I have the post.
Okay.
It says on July 3rd, a 30-minute preview for Visions will be 3 p.m. PST. So literally,
That's today.
a couple hours after we're done recording this,
Okay,
it's
so
gonna go up.
So
we should post, if there's a big thing from it, we should post that on the social media.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
also, if there is like a really big bit, we can always just do an audio recording and just add it to the end of the episode
that,
to cover
true that,
it,
yeah.
just to cover it.
That is true.
Sorry we're missing it right now. In hindsight, how was it, guys? How was it? I hope it was good.
Well, speaking of stuff that's happening like in the next couple days, my Wrecker Black Series figure just got shipped from GameStop last night. So that's arriving on Monday.
GameStop is on the ball when it comes to getting figures out. Hasbro kind of sucks at it. So it's like, it's nice because you know that you're going to get your figure from Hasbro. They will never run out and they will never not send it to you. But they're always the last to send it to you.
And I'd rather it be that way. I'd rather just know that I'm getting it and wait longer than maybe get it, maybe have my pre-order canceled. Walmart, you know?
Walmart.
But yeah, the Wrecker figure's coming in, which it was supposed to ship in October. So, like, I'm not mad at all. But yeah, shout out to GameStop. In my opinion, they're the best store to do exclusives with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because what I like what they do is they release it in like the pre-order in a wave, so you have the initial that comes out directly on time.
Yeah.
And it always comes out on time, until I jinx it just now. But it comes out on time, and then they have the first wave, and then for those that missed it, like 20 minutes to a half hour later, they release a second wave of pre-orders.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be right on time. So you have like a little bit of wiggle room to get it. So
Yeah.
I really like GameStop for that.
Granted, they haven't really also run out of pre-orders specifically for any of their like new gaming grades figures. I mean, some of them aren't necessarily like desirable, like a new Walmart Rex or anything.
Yeah, right.
But they're still good figures, I would say. Because I wanted to bank off that to go right to the fact that today we have the Imperial Flame Trooper that I just ended up getting from GameStop. I really, really like it as well. The funny part about that one for me was that when Hasbro Pulse did like their huge reveal at first that day for the figure, I was in the middle of a Eastern philosophy class for college, and so I had my computer up and I was watching the live stream but without sound, just because I didn't want the teacher to know. And so they were going through the art, and I had to give a presentation that day too, so I had my screen up with my presentation, and then in the corner I had like YouTube and whatever, and then I just saw the brief like silhouette for that in it, and I pooped my pants. I thought it was the clone Snow Trooper.
Oh.
I was like, there's no way, there's no way, there's no way. I was freaking out in class. But then when I got back, I saw that it was the Imperial Flame Trooper from John Falloner, which absolutely no gripe. It is still an amazing figure. So the big thing that I want to highlight as well, obviously the backpack comes off on the back. And then the one thing, well, two things I guess I really can say about that figure is that I kind of wish it had a flame attachment on the end. However, the flamethrower is so long already that I don't feel like it would be practical because it would just weigh it down.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still a very cool weapon. But then the other thing that I have is that his offhand, for me, I'm having a very hard time posing it so that he holds the flamethrower accurately. But that's just like the smallest thing. I'm not trying to like force it in his hand because I don't want to like crush it and ruin the figure. But other than that, I mean, if you want to...
Yeah, what I do with mine, because I got mine too in the mail, so I just what I do this with a lot of Black Series, I stretch their fingers when I'm trying to get their gun in their hand.
Oh, you do?
It's like, I'll pull their fingers like out, and then I'll put their hand in the gun, and then it just stays like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
This figure too, I thought it was going to be literally Snow Trooper body with a different head. That's what I thought it was going to be, but when I grabbed my Redbox Snow Trooper figure and compared them, there's a lot of original sculpting on this Flame Trooper figure that I didn't realize was there. Like, the entire lower leg and even the feet are a different sculpt than the Snow Trooper has. Same goes for the forearms, and even the backpack is a completely new sculpt, which, again, I was not expecting. I thought it was going to be just, okay, we'll just take the entire Snow Trooper body and just throw a new head on it. So, like, I'm really impressed with that, especially because it's a gaming grades figure. They do tend to do a lot of reuse on those.
Especially with the Ninja Wookiee.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I mean, speaking of that though, don't we have isn't there another like Black Series like leak that came out this past week or?
No, I think the only one that came out is the one that we covered.
I'm thinking of the Target thing that's
Okay.
going on this month. Yeah,
Which-
Jackson, you know the most about that.
Okay, so I can go on about that. So Target just announced at the end of June that July was going to be their big like collector's month. So every day, technically it already started, but the first like day it starts next week is going to be Tuesday the 6th, and then it's going to be a Monday to Friday kind of thing. And so every single day is going to be a new like Target exclusive item. And so they showed off their brands and whatever, and Star Wars is on there, and so is Hasbro. So we very well could get a Star Wars Black Series figure. And so it's important to note as well that every new drop comes out at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So if you're on the East Coast like us, no, it comes out at 8, sorry. So if you're on the East like us, it comes out at 9. But then it's also a limit quantity to 1. So there's so many different things that it could be. So the day before a drop, you can go on the collector's thing, you can go on the website or their app, you just have to look up collector's spot. It'll tell you what item is going to come out the next day. So like before the first day it said like it was going to be an NBA item, And then when I logged on the next morning, it showed off the figures before the pre-order, and it's 2 NBA player pop figures. People that I'm not familiar with because I don't really follow basketball that much. However, I wrote down an entire list, if you guys would like me to go through, of all the previous Target exclusive figures, because the thing that it highlighted as well in the post was that we could get a brand new collectible, or we could get a figure that Target has done in the past. So, to go through the list real quick, so we got the Clone Wars figures from this year. Last year we got the Galaxy's Edge. The Mando and the Child were also Target exclusives. That's brand new. If you could see right behind me, we just got that in. The Remnant Stormtrooper. There's the 2 new Rogue One figures that were up for pre-order. It was Jyn Erso's dad, and then the pilot of the X-Wing. There's the Imperial Shadow Squad, which would be an amazing one to get because that's
They would never do that, but I would
never
love for it to be that.
I would love for it to be that too. They had a 2-pack with Poe Dameron and then a First Order Riot Trooper. They did a 3-pack with a Death Trooper, Cassian, and Jyn Erso. They did the Imperial AT-ACT driver, which is one of the ones that you were pointing to behind us that you said you wanted, Tom. They did the First Order Execution Trooper, which I was surprised I didn't know that was an exclusive. They had the Luke Skywalker from The Last Jedi, like on that planet, as like a little playset kind of thing, exclusive. They had Chewbacca with goggles. There was the Gamorrean Guard. Would be awesome to get.
That would be cool.
Which they did just re-release that a little bit ago at Fan Channels, right?
I think
Unless
they
I'm
did.
wrong.
So.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah, so they might do that one.
They did Besmond Leia. There was Moloch Kronos, which was the dude from Solo that ended up being the shelf warmer because a child isn't going to want to play with him.
Hey. Don't disrespect Moloch like that.
They did 3PO and Babu Freak, Emperor Palpatine with his throne, which is directly behind Jacob.
I thought that was Amazon.
No, it's a Target exclusive.
No kidding.
I was going through everything that I used right now to find and check all of this. It's a website called 411. They have a complete visual guide of the Black Series and other collections as well. I use it to catalog my collection. It's a really great website. Check it out. They also did the First Order Elite Stormtrooper there, the Luke from the Death Star Escape, which I feel like is plausible now, the fact that they're doing the New Hope Leia, because I don't know if they would release it in Galaxy packaging, but that would be cool. And then they also had Carbonized Mando and then the Christmas Range Trooper. It's important to know as well that all of the stuff that's being released for this collector's spot will only be available online. So there are no like DCPI numbers like we've gotten in the past from Yak. So that's why I'm a little bit like on edge that it could literally be anything, because if there's no DCPI, then you can't track it. But at the same time, Yak before has been able to notice when there are new figures updated into Target's online system. So at this point, I'm just waiting.
I feel like there are a couple things to note too. Like nobody really knows much about this Target collector spot thing. Like there's no like news pages for Star Wars like really reporting on it. It's just kind of like happening, you know what I mean? And I feel like the most plausible out of the list you gave would probably be the Galaxy's Edge figures, maybe the Clone Wars figures even,
because it seems like they have been restocking the Clone Wars figures quite often. So it shows that they do have more. So it wouldn't surprise me if they just did another wave of them.
Yeah.
Which then again wouldn't be bad, because there's all the people that weren't able to get it before. There'd be a day notification, so you know that you have a day to get it.
And you can't bot it either. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
You can't click on the item ahead of time, because when I went to the NBA Funko Pop pages and whatever to like click pre-order before it was technically available, it just said error, couldn't access the page. So I think because you can't access the actual page the item is on, you can't bot it.
Well, that's the other thing too is I thought it was going to be all strictly re-releases, but the Larry Bird and Magic Johnson were the 2 Funko Pops that they already put out. Those are new. Those have not been released before to my knowledge.
And they're pre-orders.
Yeah, so like that's interesting too. Like, would there be like a surprise Target figure? I don't think they would do that, especially if it was an online exclusive only. If it was an exclusive, they would totally, well, we wouldn't see it in the stores, but they would send it to the stores, you know what I mean? But I feel like, probably the Galaxy's Edge figures, probably the Clone Wars figures, and then probably the Mando and Grogu 2-pack.
I would really hope for that one, because that's one that I want.
Oh yeah, you like Play-Doh hair, Pedro Pascal?
Oh my
They did him
gosh.
so dirty with
You
the
like
face
him
sculpt.
in Castaway? Yeah.
His face sculpt looks like the Michelin Man in like an MS Paint. It's so bad.
Because that's the thing as well that we were talking about. When they do a face scan for a Black Series figure, it is a hit or a miss. There's
no
no
in-between.
in-betweens.
No.
Period. Like, Bo-Katan. I love Bo-Katan, but the helmet stays on.
The helmet stays on because she got Play-Doh hair. I'm just saying.
Exactly. And I feel so bad because I want to like it and I want it to be super good. Like the redos that they did for Leia and everything, I'm like, why couldn't you just fix it a little bit? You know?
Well, for the most part, I think the face sculpt is fine. I think it's just the paint. The paint is what kind of throws it off.
Also, like, she's got helmet head because they have to fit the helmet on the head. And I'd rather have a figure, in my opinion, I like to have figures with removable helmets rather than two separate heads. That's just me. That's like my weird personal preference, but...
I don't know. But on the topic of toys, last week when we were filming, it was either the day of or coming up was the LegoCon.
It was day of.
The day of. And we were wrong. We did not get a reveal for the Republic gunship like we wanted, but we did get a reveal for 3 Mandalorian sets. Those being the Imperial Troop Transport, the Moff Gideon's Light Cruiser, and probably the most controversial one, Slave One, that they renamed Boba Fett's Starship in the box. So, lots of people are very upset about this. I'm just going to give my 2 cents about it first. I personally don't care that much. Disney doesn't want to put the word slave on toys and things that they're giving to children. And that's not going to change what it's called in the canon. It's not changing what it's called in Star Wars. They're just changing the name on the box. And if they don't want to put slave on boxes, sure, be my guest. But then again, the ship gets its name because Jango Fett killed his slave master and freed himself from slavery. So it kind of has a good liberating story behind it. But then again, that's neither here nor there. That's just my 2 cents on it. But the sets do look pretty cool.
Yeah, with the Slave One thing, I'm with Jacob. Like, it doesn't bother me that much. Like, I think there's just this infatuation with whenever Disney does anything with Star Wars, it's like to get against the fans, and it's an attack on the fandom. You know what I mean? It's all this... And it's just not that deep to me. Like, if you look at, I mean, I'm on Twitter a lot, and I see a lot of interactions between people, and a lot of it is angry discourse and trolling and all that stuff. But so a good point that someone brought up, actually, shout out to Aaron Skywalker on Twitter. He is always posting like really insightful stuff, really cool like Star Wars stuff. He put out a post basically saying like the original Slave One like product from the 80s when Empire came out was it said Boba Fett's spaceship. It didn't say Slave One. And so like Slave One is the name given because Boba Fett's spaceship and Boba Fett's starship is more marketable than Slave One. Like Millennium Falcon is more marketable than Han Solo's ship because everyone knows the Millennium Falcon. They talk about it in the movie a ton. Not to mention, they've never mentioned in any of the Star Wars movies the name Slave One. It's only been mentioned in the Clone Wars.
Exactly.
And Aura Singh is the only one who says it,
But then again, like on the topic of this set, the real gripe I have with it is the fact that they gave Boba Fett a new body paint, and they didn't do it for the helmet. They left the helmet the exact same that it's always been.
Color, yeah.
So it's like this really light green on a dark green body. It's just a bit lazy. They're just saving money and cutting corners, but come on, Lego. If your slogan is only the best is enough, just paint the dang helmet. Come on.
It's not even painted. It's just do a different color for the sculpt.
Just do a different color. But then again, no gripes. The Slave One set is, I think it's going to be like around like $30 to $50, which isn't bad.
I think 50.
Yeah, it's a smaller
good.
Slave One, and I'm actually a fan of the build. I like how it looks a lot.
It has the stand.
Yeah, it comes with a little stand that's like
It looks
a little,
stupid.
the stand looks a bit silly, but I don't care that much.
Yeah, it looks silly, but it's like, look at where'd you put the Slave One?
It's down here.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's down
But
there.
it's like, it's a ship that you can't stand up vertically. It just can't do that. So
But-
you have to lay it down.
But the thing is, Jackson, is the UCS Lego set for the Slave One came with a stand that didn't look stupid. So This one, it's smaller, it's for kids, and they
Yeah,
added a
right.
little play thing for kids as well, and that's just the end of it.
In my opinion, a set where they did not cut corners was that it's called the Marauder, Imperial Marauder.
I think
It's
so.
the one that comes, that artillery trooper minifig looks amazing, and the build looks amazing.
For the Imperial troop transport, they're doing there's an exclusive artillery trooper minifigure, which looks pretty good. We're getting a new sculpt, well, not new sculpt, a new paint for Grief Karga, which looks pretty dang good. I like it a lot. And then probably the one I'm most excited for is Moff Gideon's light cruiser. It kind of surprised me because it's coming with a Cara Dune minifigure right after Disney kind of got rid of Cara Dune, and it seemed like they might not be doing anything
How
with it.
dare you say that name?
I don't know. I kind of think they might bring her back because Lego's keeping her in merchandise. Disney keeps producing merchandise with her in it. Either they're going to keep the character and recast it, or they just might keep Gina Carano on.
The Gina Carano thing, dude, makes me so sad. I would love for them just to have her on the show or recast her character. If they care that much about like keeping her off the show, then just recast her, because she's such a what's a central character to the show at this point. Like, it would just be weird to just give her an off-screen death. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even if like they explain it really well, I'm still gonna kind of be like in the back of my head, I know what happened. You know what I mean? So it's like, just recast her at this point. Like.
But then the set also comes with a Fennec minifigure, which is going to be really cool for those that are a fan of the Bad Batch and the Mandalorian. And it also comes with a Dark Trooper minifigure. Lots of people are going to be buying up this set just so they can army build that Dark Trooper. It looks really good. It kind of has the same shoulder pad piece that Wrecker has to make him look better.
Yeah, I agree.
Has a completely new helmet sculpt on a new painted head. And it just looks phenomenal.
Well, I know the one thing people are freaking out about with a lot of the new Lego sets is that all of a sudden they're doing a bunch of arm printing on minifigures, which apparently they don't do a lot.
They usually don't. Like, they didn't do it for any of the Bad Batch minifigures except for Echo on his, like, one robo arm. They rarely do it, and when they do it, it's usually, like, a little special thing. Unless, like, I know they do it more often for some Marvel sets. Like, I know Spider-Man always has arm printing, just because it's very unique to Spider-Man, so how could you not do it? But, no, in Star Wars, you usually don't see it. I know I have, like, one or two minifigures that have arm printing on it. I can't remember which ones it is off the top of my head, but it's the Beskar Mando. The Beskar Mando has arm printing.
Yeah, right.
So that one's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was actually just peering over your shoulder at it. I feel like they kind of missed out because they definitely could have just thrown Bo-Katan in the set. It would have been so
She's
much
already
better.
in another
She's
set.
in a new Lego set. She's going to be in the Mandalorian
she's in-
Starfighter.
Yeah.
that's
So
true.
why put her in one set when you can make them buy the other one to get that minifigure? Yeah, money. So,
That's true.
but no, even that Mandalorian Starship set looks really cool because it's gonna come with Gar Saxon as well.
The whole wave is cool. The whole wave.
This whole
They
summer
came
wave is cool, and it's gonna make my wallet hurt a lot.
out. The Black Series is making my wallet hurt a lot.
I know, but we're still holding out for the gunship reveal. I would not be surprised if they pushed the reveal and the release of it till next year. Just with how the forecast is right now. If either they're gonna hold it off for like a very end of the year set, which would make sense just with the time frame, but then again, we haven't seen anything from it other than one cockpit piece got leaked. And that is it.
Well, that wasn't even leaked. That was like for an interview. They showed like a 3D rendering of what the cockpit looks like, which is, it's a new piece. It's a new, like, it looks like it's going to be printed. It doesn't look like it's going to be a sticker.
Thank goodness.
Which I like the printed pieces more than the stickers. Cause
Everybody does.
when I had Lego sets, like, when I was probably like 16 years old, I was collecting Star Wars Legos when Rogue One was coming out and all that. And over the years, the stickers peel. On their own. Like, they don't last very long.
Or you don't align it right, like Jacob.
There's
That
nothing
is the
that
most
makes...
frustrating thing
I will
ever.
I will be spending like 6 hours on a build. Like the longest one I took time on was definitely the Razor Crest. And there's nothing more infuriating. Like hour 4, your back hurts from bending over, but you don't want to stop building, and you're putting on a sticker and it goes on crooked. That is a new type of primal rage.
Dude, anyone who's a heart surgeon or a brain surgeon probably applied Lego stickers in their lifetime.
And they probably do it with such precision because
yeah, dude.
they
Steady hands like that.
they cut people's hearts open. They better be. They
Oh
better
my
have
gosh,
precision.
yeah.
No. Probably the Razor Crest, though, was my favorite build out of all the Lego sets I have, just because I built it the day that Season 2 was coming out of The Mandalorian, and I built it all the way up until the episode released, and then when the episode released, I watched it, so that was really cool. But no, the set was really chunky, really big for what it was. It was really good price per piece wise. No, I highly recommend that set. I know Amazon recently, they did, like, for Prime Day, they, like, did, what? It was, like, 70% off, maybe?
For what?
The Razor Crest Lego set.
My gosh, it was, like, $70 from an initial $130.
Yeah,
I think it was.
It was crazy, and I felt like a chump for paying full price. But no.
But the set is dope. Like, it's behind us off camera right now, and
Yeah,
it
we
looks amazing.
We can bring it in. Hopefully I don't break it.
Yeah, don't drop it. I mean, I'd probably laugh.
Oh.
But then I would feel bad.
Yeah, it would be very bad. So yeah, this is like a Razor Crest. It's actually really big. The box doesn't do it justice. It's actually a really big set. It comes with a couple minifigures with like Mando, Grogu, IG-11, and I think it's...
Did you guys hear about the there's like a way to do a cheaper Lego Razor or cheaper Razor Crest?
People have been making those little mocks for quite a while.
Yeah,
now.
well, you kick a divot in the ground outside.
Yeah.
And then you have the Razor Crest.
Oh no! So you take your Razor Crest. If you want it to look accurate, you take it and then you drop it from the highest height that you can find, and that's a more accurate depiction.
Into a crater in the ground, and there you go.
Spoilers
Razor
if you
Crest.
haven't watched The Mandalorian Season 2, but if you're here, why haven't you? Go watch it. It's so good.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of anything Razor Crest.
Mm-hmm.
I really wish, I don't know why, there are days when I'm like, I wish I would have got that HasLab, because it looks
It's
so
huge.
RIP,
It's
yeah,
huge.
Bought it though.
Yeah,
But it doesn't
they're like,
exist
I just
though.
got the Razor Crest. 2 episodes later, kaboom.
Yeah,
Speaking
dude.
of HasLab, actually though, so we just got information about the new HasCon coming soon.
Yes, this
We
fall.
think that they're going to reveal the HasLab then. If they don't, then I don't know.
What's the point in having the HasCon if you're not going to reveal the HasLab? I think they did the Razor Crest at the HasCon for the HasLab.
Crest? What do you mean?
Like when they announced that the Razor Crest is going to be a HasLab project, I think they did it at
that was
HasCon.
I felt like HasCon was last summer though, instead of fall. I could be wrong, but I feel like last year it was in the summertime.
Mhm.
No, it was definitely in the fall because we had the whole spiel about the Cad Bane. Because that was the HasLab
Yeah.
exclusive.
I have that Cad Bane with Toto 360.
And then you
You
opened
haven't.
it.
And I took it out of the box.
I still don't know why you did that.
Dude, because it's just, I mean, I was telling you guys the other day, we journeyed an hour away looking for the new wave of Black Series figures, thinking that they were in stock, only to be met with pegs full of Grief Kargas, Queels, and a single Moff Gideon.
Hey, at least the pegs were full.
Yes, yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah,
In the middle of frickin' nowhere.
middle of nowhere. It was
All
like an hour trip.
Hour
Like
trip,
there,
and all there
hour trip
was,
back.
there was a Walmart and then a Tractor Supply Co. And those were the only businesses within a 40-mile radius. So, that just to give you an idea as to where we ventured to.
I mean, yeah, but like when we were talking on the way there, like there are just certain figures that you get when you open them and immediately you're like, oh my gosh, I love this figure, because you'll be trying to pose them one way, and then in the middle of posing you're like, oh my gosh, this pose looks good too. I just want to keep it this way. That's how it was for me with Cad Bane. I opened him because I just couldn't resist it, and I just, oh my gosh, I took so many pictures of just different poses with him and Toto.
That Cad Bane figure looks really good.
Oh my gosh.
It looks so good.
I must have a thing for just blue characters with red eyes in Star Wars, because I
Yeah.
love Thrawn and I love Cad Bane, so
Something about him.
something about that color palette.
Makes me feel a certain type of way. But,
Yeah, we crapped on you for the Cad Bane, but at the same time, I'm the fellow that bought the... Well, my dad actually got it for me, which, thank you. It's the 3-pack of ARC Troopers. I ripped that junk right open.
Oh, that was a HasCon exclusive, wasn't it?
Yep.
But
In
it
a
looks
very
so
nice
good.
box.
The figures are so amazing because you can take all their helmets off and they have all their weapon accessories. And on their backpack, you can put them in the pegs too to like have them carry all
Yeah,
the weapons.
the dog agrees. Yeah, but I mean, I was gonna make a joke about Black Series ARC Troopers being some sort of exclusive, but the last time I made a joke about a figure being an exclusive, it happened. So I'm done talking about figures being exclusives, because Who did that? Who banged on the desk? When the Bad Batch Rex, we were talking about it, and we would like be having so many conversations about it, and every time someone would bring it up, I go, yeah, it's gonna be a Walmart or a Walgreens exclusive, and then like a week later, it came out that it was a Walmart.
It was.
So I was like, ooh, I manifested that. So I'm just gonna not talk anymore about what's gonna be an exclusive and what's not.
Yeah. I feel bad for people that were not able to get that Rex, because that figure looks so cool.
Well, dude, because, again, like, last week we talked about casual collectors, and you look at it and it's like, casual collectors don't even know much about the fan channels, like Big Bad, Dorkside, and even Entertainment Earth, and Entertainment Earth is probably the biggest one.
Or Yak, even.
Or, like, so, how are they supposed to know that there was a reissue of the Redbox Rex? You know, all they see is they go on eBay and wherever else, and they see, look, I have a loose Rex with a broken arm for like $200.
And that was the thing. That was the thing that we saw on eBay.
It wasn't exactly $200, but
it was still it was 80 to 100.
It was a 3-digit number.
It was a 3-digit number. It was way more than it should have been.
That's how we got our Wolf though, without the restock. Well, because they like when I say just did the restock, I mean like they just did the restock couple months back, had to be. And then when we originally got our Wolf for our collection, we bought it used, and I think one of the arms was a little screwy.
The leg is funky, the skirt wasn't on, and there was no belt.
Yeah, but we put on a Stormtrooper belt because it looks literally the exact same almost. But then we ended up getting the new Wolf. We got the Wolf for this collection, and then for my own personal one.
Yeah, right.
And now he stays in the box.
Yeah, dude.
I think he's up there.
Where is he?
In heaven. No.
Okay.
Yeah, dude. It's just the Black Series. The prices are the way they are because people know that you can't find them. And if they were available and readily available to everybody, then the prices would not be the way they are. Maybe pre-orders still would, because I don't know who buys those pre-orders. I don't know
People
who
have to, because I was looking the other day. It was when I was at home. Someone had a pre-order for $70 for that Coruscant Shock Trooper that was exclusive on Walmart on May the 4th and whatever.
Don't talk about that figure.
You got it.
I hate that figure.
You hate it.
I'm gonna open it and I'm going to punt it across the street.
Why?
Because that figure caused me so much anger
Talk
on
about
May the
story.
4th.
Talk about the
All
story.
right, now you have to give us the story.
What'd you say?
Yeah, so you have to give us the story now.
That's the story now.
I will do what I must. So, it was May the 4th, and Jackson had come over to my apartment with another one of our friends, and we stayed up. It was like the night of May 3rd going into May 4th, and we stayed up to watch the premiere episode of The Bad Batch. We did that, and then Jackson and I watched the live stream for the new figures that got announced. And
you watched it individually, and then I went back to your apartment
Yes.
and watched it again.
And then the pre-orders came, and I think I had work or something. Like, I had to be somewhere,
Yes.
so I had to take a shower, right? So when was the pre-orders, 1 or 2?
It had to be at 1 because we were refreshing actually for like ever, and then you were all like, I have to get in the shower, and then it was me and my dad, and I think you as well were all like refreshing. I was back in my dorm. I was skipping an online class because it didn't really matter.
I was skipping physics, AP physics.
Yeah, so it was 1 o'clock, and none of the pre-orders were up. There was the Flame Trooper and the Night Brother for GameStop, and then there was...
This went up later.
Yeah, everything was supposed to drop at 1.
Nothing.
So it was the 2 GameStop figures. There was the Vice Admiral Rampart and the Shock Trooper for Walmart. And it was 1 o'clock, 1:05, 1:10, 1:15, and I'm just refreshing and nothing is showing up anywhere. So I'm like, you know what? At this point, I'm going to hop in the shower. I take a 2-minute shower. It'll be fine. I get out of the shower.
Wrong.
And Jackson texts me. I see a text 2 minutes ago. It must have been right as I got in the shower. I see, dude, they're up in all caps. And I'm like, oh my God. So I'm butt naked. I run over to the couch where my laptop is. And I'm like refreshing. They're gone. I was so angry. I'm like walking around with just my towel on, and my roommate that I share a room with in my apartment, he's like, bro, what's wrong? What happened? I'm like, dude, the figures are gone. I'm like freaking out about it. And then I'm just angry. And so we had class at 2:00. That's what it was.
Okay.
So we had a class together. So we walked to class and I was just so grumpy. My roommate doesn't really know much about Star Wars, but he'll like listen to me talk about it because he knows I like it a lot. So the whole walk to class, it was like a 7-minute walk to the class, and I'm just ranting the entire way there. I'm swearing like a sailor. I'm like losing my mind. And so I sit down in the class and I'm not even paying attention to the class. I'm just on my phone just refreshing on Yak's like Linktree. And then I get a text from Jackson at like 2:30 and he's like, dude, the shock trooper's back up. The shock trooper's back up. And I got it. And then I felt stupid for being so angry for the last hour.
About
Don't, man.
Yeah, about an action figure.
I remember when the Cad Bane exclusive was coming out last year, and they gave us a day and 0 time. I was furious because I was at a friend's house because our school was all online for that year, but I had some in-person classes out of college. So I would be at my friend's house and then I would ride to college halfway through the day. Well, I was sitting there in class refreshing the page every half hour, just like trying to be like, I gotta get this Cad Bane figure. 12 o'clock rolls around and that's my lunchtime, and I was just like, it'll be fine. It wasn't. That was when the figure went up, and I missed it, and my dad missed it, and I was fuming the rest of the day. I was like, how could you do that? No, tell us. How could you put it up and not tell anybody? I was so furious. But thank goodness we ended up getting the figure, like, just in hindsight on the aftermarket, even though we might have gotten diddled for it in the prices. But, no, it's such a cool figure, and it made me so mad because they're like, it goes up on a day. You have to figure out the time.
Exactly. Same deal with the 212th fiasco. Like, I'm not even joking.
What's that? I don't know what the 212th is. It never came out.
Well, yeah. But yeah, I'm not even joking. I sat there on the couch in the same position for an hour and 15 minutes refreshing Walgreens. I got the app too. I was on the website. I was on the app. On the website. On the app. Like refreshing, looking up Star Wars Black Series, Star Wars Black Series. Nothing. And like, I'm not even joking. I still check for that 3 times a day. I check that 3 times a day, and I check Brickseeker 3 times a day, just to see if our Walmart will eventually get in the stock for the new wave of the Black Series figures, so we can do the review of them on the show, because that would be cool to do. But no.
Yeah, dude.
I don't know. When that Walgreens figure comes out, you know they're gonna mess it up on the website too. That will be the issue. And depending on where you guys live, we live in an area where we have one Walgreens, and they haven't stocked it since Jen Erso since that really crummy Jen Erso like figure in the red box. That's still sitting there.
There was one, the Walgreens that's closest to my house, because there's one that's like 30 minutes away, and then there's one that's like 10 or 15 minutes away from us. Mm-hmm. And so the one that's closer, I think it was last summer, I went, and they had the wave with Bespin Han for the red box. They had the 3PO and a couple other figures. Mm-hmm. And I picked up the Han. That was the only time in the last 4 years that they have ever done any sort of restock on Black Series anything. Mm-hmm. If you go there now, there's still the Jedi training Rey, 2 of them. There's the Lando from Solo. Mm-hmm. And there's a Kira and there's a Jyn Erso every single time you go, and they will not go on clearance because none of the employees have any idea that there's any sort of that they're old. They just don't know. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. It's when we took a trip to the Outer Banks a couple months ago, I remember we were driving past a Walgreens. I was like, heck, let's stop and look at it just to see. And I was happily surprised to see that they had the Dark Side Rey figure in like the new Galaxy artwork boxes.
No
so
kidding.
I was like, somebody's coming here and buying the stock, and they're getting new stock all the way down here. So that's cool. That is the only time I've seen a somewhat new or relevant figure in a Walgreens.
Well, that's the other thing is the aftermarket on all these figures. Like when Jackson was talking about getting the Cad Bane on the aftermarket, it's so nice and refreshing when you buy from another collector. Mm-hmm. Like with me for my Cad Bane, I got mine from a collector in Hong Kong who had an entire case of them. And
but that's not a collector, that's a scalper.
Nah, bro, he was not scalping. He was in Hong Kong, he gave me free international shipping, and I got the figure for probably like $70 or $80, which is a lot to pay. for that figure.
That's a scalper.
It's not a scalper.
That's a scalper with free shipping, Tommy.
If it
Don't
was
kid
a
yourself. Don't kid yourself.
If it was a scalper, then it would have been the other listings that are like $130, $140 with like $20 shipping. And the dude packaged it so well. Like when I got it, it came in a box and it had these like plastic corner protectors on every corner of the box that like kept it so that if God forbid it got dented in the mail, like it wouldn't have damaged the packaging. And he had it bubble wrapped like so tight in like 3 layers of bubble wrap.
Well, that's cool.
It was like that. It's so refreshing to see that. And then the retailers. Jackson, do you want to tell us about your Obi-Wan figure that you just got?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is all about the Target Clone Wars set. So for the main collection that we have right here, we have a whole unboxed set, and then right over there we have a boxed set. And then I was able, because I randomly just wake up at 5 a.m. just because I'm used to waking up to work out at that time. And I woke up the day that those released, and they were online. And I like called Tommy. I was like, Tom, the figure up, it's up. And then like I waddled downstairs. I was like, Dad, Tommy, buy them. So we got those. And so I've just been trying to pick up out-of-box ones whenever they go up on Target right now. And for the most part, they keep coming back in stock. Anakin came back in stock actually this morning, and I think Obi-Wan did too because he's gone.
Yeah, right.
Hawk is still up, and he's been up for a few days just because I don't know why people want him. But when I buy these through Target and they ship it to our house, they stuff them in a box that is way too small for it. And that happened because one of the figures I bought, I just shipped to my Target because it was just going to be easier for that time, and I forget why I didn't ship it to the house. But the same issue has occurred when I shipped it to Target and I shipped it at my house. It is in a box that is way too small for the figure, and it is just shoved in there. Like, they do not care. And I can't understand why. Like, are you literally out of boxes that are the correct size of the figure? Yeah,
probably.
Because one time I actually did get the figure in a box, and it was minty. It was fine. It was in a perfectly sized box for the figure. I don't know why Target thinks it's okay to do that. Granted,
they don't care.
Employees, but the average Target employee who isn't a Star Wars collector is just like, okay, it's a toy. Boop in the box.
He said a little boy gonna get this figure. He's gonna play with it all day.
This 8-year-old boy that's gonna open this action figure. Meanwhile,
20-year-old man-child like, I need my figure and I need it mint.
Granted, we did have that dude when we were leaving the Target the one day when I picked up my figure that was all like, I don't understand why people could collect Pokemon cards or Black Series or like not Black Series,
action figures.
Or just action figures in general because that's stupid. Which I was just like, whatever, dude. You don't get it if it's not your thing because everybody has their thing. We enjoy this, like how people like collecting sneakers.
Yeah, it's like how some people do drugs. We like Star Wars.
That's what my mom always says.
Yeah.
My mom, I get more action figures in the mail, and I'll be like, "Hey, Mom, look at this new action figure I got," and she'll be like, "Well, at least you're not spending all your money on drugs and alcohol."
What can I say? We like plastic.
Shout out to my mom.
But yeah, I just don't understand why they're doing that. I mean, it's like, would you do that for any other delicate item that you're selling at Target for any, I don't know.
This glass vase.
It's just they don't get paid enough to care. You know, like the employees,
exactly.
like they're just getting paid. They don't care at all. And especially with COVID, everything gets shipped in the mail now. So you can imagine how much of a nightmare that is for those people. I'm not excusing it because I still think you're damaging the product. You know? The worst I've been shipped a figure as I got them. Like, you know, those like small like chibi anime figures. I finished my playthrough of Breath of the Wild, and I loved that game so much that I just wanted like a little thing in my room just to commemorate it. So I got like one of those small chibi figures of like Link. It's like from the Smile Good company. I don't remember, but they shipped it to me in a bag, and the box was absolutely demolished. Thank goodness the figure wasn't broken, but it might as well have been, because that box was obliterated. It was like flattened in like several areas and folded. I was like, I am so surprised the figure's here in one piece at least. Yeah, right.
But it was a nightmare. I was like, this is really, really bad.
I don't know, dude. But, you know, that's why I'm glad I'm not a TVC collector, because if you collect vintage collection, all of those figures come on card backs.
Yeah, all of them are card backs.
Dude, and if it's a Target exclusive or an Amazon exclusive, anything like that, like, I am so terrified because I got that Bad Batch 4-pack of TVC figures. I am so terrified of how that's going to ship.
Well, it seems like it's shipping in a box that's protecting the card backs on all of them.
Well, you would think.
You would think. Until they put it in a bag and ship it to you.
Until they cram it in a box. You know. But yeah, I mean, I hope it shows up because that's something that I do want to keep in the box. Because I was actually looking for a multi-pack of Clone Troopers to keep in the box that were 3 3/4 as like a centerpiece. You know?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just when it comes to shipping things, you're really in like the hands of the people that package it and the delivery man. It's like because I like vinyls and stuff. I have a record player in my room, and I've wanted for so long to try to collect all like the Star Wars soundtracks on vinyl. Because I have Episode 9, Episode 7, and an original press of Episode 4, and just because I found it like at a flea market, and I want to get them so bad, but the amount of videos I've seen of people getting vinyls folded into their mailbox, I can't bring myself to do it just because of that fear. Just because the felt just... It's so bad.
Yeah. But it is what it is, and it's the risk you take when you're getting stuff in the mail, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that was there's a lot going on, and I'm really excited for the Visions premiere today. I know it's gonna blow me away. I'm so excited for it.
We'll have to try to get together at the end of the day just to do an audio segment.
What would we want to do? We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
We'll
keep the fans posted.
Yeah. We'll keep you guys posted.
Yeah, but again, share around. Thank you so much for all the support that we got, on last week's episode. Again, way, way, way more than any of us ever anticipated, because we're just 3 Star Wars fans that just love to talk about Star Wars. So even if nobody listened, we would still do it every week because we just love talking about it so much.
Gives us a reason to hang out.
Yeah, right? So, share it around. Feel free to leave a comment, interact with us, because we love the interaction and we love your guys' feedback, and we'll put it in next week's episode.
Especially if you have any questions to ask us, anything about our collections, or what's the most expensive figure we have, or what's our favorite figure, things like that. If you want to ask us, leave it in the comments below. If you have any suggestions on how we can do things differently or make things more entertaining for you guys, just drop it in the comments. Let us know. We can't fix it if we don't know. So,
yeah, right.
And I will read every single comment, and I will do my best to reply to every single one. I check it every day.
One of us will reply. Between the 3 of us, we're always looking at the social media. Whether
Tommy's the anchorhead on Twitter. Jackson's the anchorhead on Instagram.
Go give the Twitter some love.
The Twitter has no love.
The Twitter has no love.
It's what, 1313 underscore podcast on Twitter?
That's how it is on
the link tree on the Instagram leads to that. The link tree leads to everything.
Yeah, check us out on all our social media. Share us around. Tell your friends about us. Even if your friends hate Star Wars, tell them about us.
I had friends who don't like Star Wars that watched the podcast and liked it,
Yeah, so thank you again, guys. Any closing remarks?
No, I'm good. Everyone have a good week.
See ya. Bye.